I was going to show
something. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Why don't I just show this is from Ringgold, Georgia. We don't have necessarily complete confirmation of this, but I'm assuming that who took the picture has reported that lightning struck here, and
oh my goodness.
We have our team there also, and so they are looking at this damage, but I'm assuming that, a propane tank or some fuel tank of some sort also looks a little bit charred there. And so, you know what? It is, there's so many elements in these storms that can create very dangerous situations. And, I'm sure that whoever woke up this morning at this would have been probably the last scenario that they would have expected from our storms coming through here today. But, we wish the best for them to get that cleaned up. And again, we have our folks, our team is there and has been there and around into Ringgold. They're just, looking for damage as they normally do in these situations and find out, if folks wanted to, tell what happened and maybe get them some help as well. So that's always important for us. And so that is what I wanted to point out here. We had just got that in. And so now David has some updates here.
I just wanted to show a few more communities within this tornado warning. Grape Creek, Grandview, this is all areas in Cherokee County, North Carolina. Let's see, these are areas just north and west of Murphy are still under this tornado warning out till the top of the hour, 4 o'clock. I know it's kind of odd looking because it kind of straddles the county lines here, but these areas on 129 north of Murphy to Valleytown, that's where that tornado warning is in effect. From a velocity scan point of view, strong wind gusts right in here. So at the very least, you could have straight line winds with this as it moves off to the east. And I believe that eastward movement, I want to check that one more time, moving northeast at 65. So if you loop this, well, there we go. That's the pocket we're watching right there of intense winds. So if we just kind of zoom out just a little bit, or actually zoom in, you can see the areas like Grandview, east of Violet. So Colville, Valleytown, these areas just north of Murphy's right here, so just north of Murphy, under that tornado warning till the top of the hour. Again, that's moving east-northeast at 65. It will not take it long to move through those areas. That is the only tornado warning locally, but we got you covered there in northern Cherokee and the far southern portion of Monroe County. And you can see that green, that's still where those strong wind gusts are, so it's kind of in the mountainous terrain, not a whole lot of communities in there. But see all the mountains through here? They'll be channeling those valley pockets of stronger gusts, so heads up those areas farther north and east. So
maybe you can explain in what value are we looking at here, or what product?
We're looking at the velocity scan.
So could you just go through there?
It looks like a kaleidoscope, but we're able to look at the winds.
Yeah.
So when you start seeing, these are winds moving away from the radar site. We're using the Huntsville radar. Mm-hmm. So that green shading indicates faster speed. So blue and then blue to green is a faster speed away. So we know that when we see this, they've issued the tornado warning for at least straight line winds. And that looks more like straight line winds are possible, but you could get a quick spin up along that line. So that's the area that you're investigating, that you're watching very carefully, but at the very least these are where the stronger gusts are. So a lot of times those strong wind gusts can mimic what a tornado could do, whether it's an EF0 or EF1, a weak tornado, but nevertheless, people caught outside, you don't want to be there. So Grandview, Grape Creek, I want to say Unaka. Am I saying that correctly? Unaka community? They're in western Cherokee County. I think that is correct,
but you know what? I'll go with you together on that.
Someone I'm sure will let us know. I've seen it so many times, I've never known how to properly say it.
Well,
But again, this is that area that's very beautiful. If you go from this area up and over the Cherry Hill Skyway, from Monroe County back into Cherokee, that's going over that area. So a lot of 4,000, 5,000 foot mountain peaks. So you're dealing with some intense wind through there.
So yeah, it really never gave up its complete danger, you might say.
Give up the fight. Nope.
No, it didn't. From the west all the way through our eastern counties, and that doesn't happen very often. And then we're still watching for what's going to, might be still a problem with the gusty winds that, we really, in this case, can't really see on here. But, it is one of those things that even all of our area is still going to have some. Now, it does look like they'll diminish pretty fast this evening, is the last I looked anyway.
Right. It's going to take a while, yeah.
But it is going to take a while. And, you still have, we've had, I'm sure, some, especially in the shallow layers of the soil, we still have some very wet conditions from the last couple of weeks. And so some of these trees that maybe already have some, are weakened from even drought conditions, they still can come down all at once, but certainly any could have some limbs come down. They hit the wires, or the wires, maybe have a little weakness as well even. So you really have to be careful there. And once it gets dark especially, driving through some of these places that don't have much light, you have to really be careful.
Good advice. Very good advice. Once again, we're looking at Cherokee County for this tornado warning out to the top of the hour, 4 o'clock. Again, that remains in effect until 4 o'clock. Again, at the very least, a straight line wind damage threat appears to be the most intense north of Murphy. Again, this is the rainfall you're looking at. So we see orange and red, and these intense rain coming down, a lot of lightning, so quite a bit of energy there. And then the velocity scan is going to show you where the most intense winds are, which tend to be right there. So where it's raining heavily, it's windy as well. So we've got to be mindful of a quick spin-up tornado, hopefully not. But at the very least, wind gusts up to 70, higher across the higher terrain. That is the only warning. I believe there's still that one that's left in Gilmer County, but I want to stress Ella J is no longer in danger of that. Ella J, that threat has passed. So that's technically for the far southeastern part of Gilmer County, but I believe that's about to expire. I think that went out till 3:45, so roughly the next 3 minutes, this warning will expire, but Ella J, you're in the clear. Still, the trailing line stretches back south and west, so far eastern Gordon County, Fairmont, Ranger, still raining heavily, but you're about to get out of it. Calhoun, you're in the clear. We've had reports around Dalton of some trees blocking the road on Walnut Avenue. So that's not good on a Friday afternoon, but at least you're in the clear of the storms.
Well, that's always helpful because then the folks can feel like that it's not as of a danger to try to go out and clear some of this stuff that gets in the way.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to get this part out of the equation. This whole the severe storm tornado threat. We've got the high wind warning. That's bad enough, but we got to get this out of it. But most of Monroe County now out of danger, except the far southeastern corner. Polk County, you're now in the clear of the storms. Fannin County, Blue Ridge, you're out of it, or about to be. All the parts of the viewing area are out of the danger. So we're still focused squarely on this tornado warning for that area in northern Cherokee County, north of Murphy. That is out to the top of the hour. Again, that's in those areas, Topton community, over to Robbinsville, where it goes out of Cherokee County. But again, that area where you go up and over the Cherry Hill Skyway. So Grandview, Colville, these areas north of Murphy, Pleasant Valley, still under that tornado warning technically until the top of the hour, 4 o'clock. We appreciate your patience being with us this afternoon. Meteorologist David Glenn, meteorologist Bill Race with me. We have meteorologist Ryan Gold for a couple of hours during our team coverage that continues. And I want to stress again, as we continue to watch and keep an eye on that storm near Grandview in Cherokee County, our crews are out in the field. We're covering a lot of stuff with the trees and power lines down. We got some flooding issues going on. And we're going to have a full wrap-up coming up, starting up on News Channel 9 at 5 o'clock. While I keep an eye on this radar view, Bill, let's go to you and take a look. You've got some flooding video there to show.
Yeah, we have some of the aftermath, and, we will be getting a whole lot more of this kind of stuff. This is in Cleveland, where, again, it was sent in. We're not really sure the name of the person that sent it in, but this is what they called backyard flooding, is what I understand. And I'll tell you what, you would never know that. So, this was the other portion of this whole thing as far as, what are we talking about? Well, we had strong winds. We had the possibilities of severe thunderstorm warnings and also the tornado warnings. But also, we mentioned in these short periods of time that we have these heavy rain squalls in just a very thin line. May not look like it can accumulate much rain, but this will prove otherwise as we have flooding rains here, flash flooding. We would call this because probably by now, I don't know when this was taken, but the fact of the matter is once the rain stops, this can certainly get into the storm drains in whatever portion of this is here. But it's really hard to tell, and be able to tell you exactly if this is an area that does this often, and more than likely the folks that live in these areas will know exactly what to expect. I'm hopeful that by now this has settled down quite a bit, but when you look at this, it would look like to me like this could last a little while, but probably in these cases like this, you will see that water run off and then find a place to go. But in the ground, like I was thinking, that not too deep maybe of saturation, but it doesn't have any place to go sometimes when we've had rainfall and it has kind of caused some very damp conditions. The rain just has to find another way to get into the ground or find a place to go. So unfortunately, it searches this way for some place to go. So David, that is another example of some of the aftermath. Yeah, and that was probably pretty close to, well, I'm just assuming this, but pretty close to just after the rain had ended, perhaps.
Sure, and the ground was already super saturated. The rain had nowhere to go. It's like pouring water on a wet sponge. I mean, it's just going to overflow. It's the old sponge
theory, yes.
Well, let's go back to the radar view as we continue to show again. The only tornado warning out locally is over Cherokee County. And it appears to be just mainly an area of strong wind gusts right in here. So we'll zoom in on a few communities here. That's north of Murphy. You're still going to get some strong gusts in Murphy. But over near Grandview, Colville, that's still ongoing. And we'll wait till they release that from a warning point of view. But again, that's the most intense line rolling by. So that again shows you that approaching U.S. Highway 129 north of Murphy. And then all other areas locally are almost in the clear. I think the severe threat for Fannin, Gilmer's out. Severe threat for Gordon, with the exception of Fairmont, is about to end. So is Ranger, Georgia. But the severe threat is about to end. So we're going to wait on the expiration of these last few warnings before we go back to regular programming. I mean, we're here till it's gone, on till it's gone, folks. But I don't want to leave anyone wondering, hey, don't forget about us. No, we take care of every one of our local communities, all of our local counties, to make sure everybody is covered. And I know a lot of folks in Chattanooga are seeing blue skies, wondering, why are you guys still on the air? Well, it's because of these storms. We care about all communities locally, but we also got to keep in mind when we're seeing blue skies now, we're still all under a high wind warning till late evening. So that's still going to be a problem this evening. We'll talk more about that, of course, coming up at 5 o'clock. But let's see. That tornado warning remains in effect until the top of the hour. Just going to leave that there. That's for these areas north of Murphy. Watching that line. South of Murphy, got some heavy downpours again near the Martins Creek area. Heading into Clay County, but really in Clay County, you'll probably be catching some of this coming your way, but not quite as intense as areas farther north. I think it may travel a little bit north of you. So Clay County may not be as bad as what they're seeing in the northern part of Cherokee County. We'll keep an eye on it. But again, Blue Ridge, LJ, you're out of the danger of the storms. And we're watching. In Chattanooga, everybody's in the clear. No more tornado watch either. And we're just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with this. Looks like now, I think the worst of the wind is out of southeastern Monroe. Yeah. So I think most of southeastern Monroe is out of that. and mainly now just at the far northern edge of Cherokee County. Look at the wind. You look at the wind here. Just going over a few other reports here.
Well, it certainly does look that way, but that is still, still a lot of warnings still out, and I mean that is, kind of just as I was saying earlier, is just carried right on through from west to east, almost in the, just from north to south, or pretty much, and so that has continued to. Fortunately, just about get done. And yes, within some of the polygons here that has already passed through, sometimes they'll reduce them as it goes along. But in this case, because we have these moving through pretty rapidly and it's a pretty thin line, I think they're just kind of, for the most part, just going to wait it out and let it get on through. But, we, as you were saying, the folks that are still just have gotten into this and rely on us, certainly don't want to feel like, that we're not giving them the coverage they deserve. And so I see now that it looked like maybe something had come off the screen, one of the polygons, but that's going to be changing pretty rapidly here in the next little while, and that'll be cleared off. So we're just hopeful that in the areas that are still there that we are going to find little more trouble. But, anything can still pop up here while we're still in this heavy rain and the stronger storms. But I will say, west of there, across much of the area, it has at least stopped raining and storming, but the winds are still a big factor as far as the rest of the afternoon and going into this evening.
Bill, I just got, you say ask and you shall receive. I did get a pronunciation.
Oh, good.
Unaka. Now I know. So I've seen that on a map all my life. I grew up around here. I've never really known how to pronounce that. It's Unaka. Now I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of our viewers
it's our town spotlight of the day.
Let me know. I got an update from the National Weather Service in Morristown. They're keeping this warning up to the top of the hour. As it appears the worst part of the storm is over near Robbinsville, which you tend to get more into this area outside. So Cherokee County technically still under that, but just till the top of the hour. So for the next few minutes, I think it'll be in the clear. But as far as Cherokee County itself, keep in mind Hardin, Valley Town still under that tornado warning till the top of the hour. Again, that's the only tornado warning locally, but we're keeping an eye on it. Still raining heavily toward Grandview. Still some loud claps of thunder near Grandview, but not the strong winds. There's still some winds coming off the mountains here near Grandview. Watch that. But this is the area that was prompting that warning right there, and that goes up towards Robbinsville. But keep in mind, still some strong wind gusts coming across Grandview, Grape Creek. I mentioned Unaka. Now I know how to say it. It's probably just east of there. But still across Cherokee County, still some intense rain coming down. But that's on the northern edge of the county. But again, folks, the rest of the viewing area, it's in the clear. Our far eastern counties, things are moving out. Still some heavy downpours of rain southern Gilmer. South of Ella-J, I think it's going to stay just south of you. You'll get a few more downpours, but just south of you. Not so much a severe threat, at least from this standpoint. Looking over a few other items here. Let me back out for a full view. All of these severe thunderstorm warnings, I believe, expire top of the hour. Well, 4:15 in Cherokee, Monroe, and Polk. And then Fannin, that's out to the top of the hour. So we're almost in the clear locally. Still keeping an eye on that straight line damaging wind threat and that tornado warning, northern parts of Cherokee County. But again, I want to show the full scope of the radar view, and just want to tell you that we're going to, once we're in the clear from this warning, and it won't be until we're in that clear, we'll go back to regular programming. As again, the storm threat for most of our viewing area, all of our viewing area, has ended. Now again, we're still under a high wind warning. You can be like, wow, how long are these winds going to stick around? It'll be 6, 7 o'clock tonight, it's still windy. You're wondering what's going on. It's not more storms coming. It's just a very intense winds around the strong low pressure that's off to our north and west. Once it finally moves by, the winds will subside late tonight. But again, I want to stress, with that high wind warning, that could still cause some wind damage locally. So again, these storm threats exiting, that's good, but the high wind warning, that continues. As I mentioned yesterday, the high winds are going to be an issue before, during, and after this line of storms. So now we're getting to the point where we're after the line of storms. We're in that third stage, but it's the third and final stage. We've still got several more hours of high winds. But again, once this expires here, all this severe threat is ending across our viewing area, and we will resume back to normal programming. And again, we'll have a full wrap-up. Our crews are out in the field covering everything. We're dealing with a lot of trees and power lines down, a lot of power loss for the community. They've got full report, full team coverage coming up at 5 o'clock. And that'll continue through 6:30 as we watch what's going on, the aftermath of this line of storms moving on by. We got so much to show you out there from that. But as I man the radar screen one more time, again, we're watching the one tornado warning remaining, which should expire in the next 4 minutes. We'll see. We'll see if they extend that. When I say they, that's the National Weather Service in Morristown. Looks like the worst part of that storm has now moved out on toward Robbinsville, out of the county. Folks in Clay County, heavy rain, but really, other than just some strong wind gusts, the severe element that was with that is going to stay just north of you. So Hayesville, windy, rainy. I think that worst of it's going to stay just north of you there. And all these others are going to expire near the top of the hour. And all of our viewing area will be out or in the clear. So, Bill, it's been a busy
that's quite an
busy start to the weekend, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Goodness.
It's. I was thinking that, because I was be coming in tomorrow and Sunday, and at least the skies will be a little more sunny.
Yes,
this
they
weekend,
will.
And so that's always nice. Although, I had seen at least yesterday after in some of our model data and some of the future track data that it actually was bringing some clouds in later tonight, but I don't know if that's still the case or not because I haven't had a chance to look too carefully.
Yeah, I think there would be some clouds to start the day tomorrow. Then it becomes so partly, then mostly. So at least we have some sunshine. But
yeah.
Next week at this time, we're going to be talking about cold air.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be talking about the return of possibly freezing temperatures next weekend. So. It's March.
I know,
March Madness
right.
is not just for basketball, my friends.
No.
It's in the world of weather, too.
We'll consider this coming in as a lion for sure. The month. Because it's been, a couple days already. I mean, the last 3 days have had something or another of a severe weather. But, that is, and that's why, Weather Service offices hold their weather awareness weeks about this time, and
that's when the seasons start to change.
The season starts to change, but in the winter time, this past winter, and we're on the calendar still in the winter, but it is certainly something that has been having some spells of very warm weather. We had a couple spells of the colder weather. So, you can have, and we had our, even some thunderstorms during that time. So it's been a little stormy at times. This right here, though, is, I would say, at least the most unusual one that I've seen in a while.
From a wind field point of view, that's just amazing. And like I said, we'll be approaching sunset, and people are going to be like, what in the world? It's still windy.
That's right.
And it's going to be a bit unusual for that, but it's not bringing any more storms. It's just that it's going to bring possibly some damage to parts of the viewing area.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if we had that, if we ever showed it, but you always put this out there, and that is the trampoline effect.
Oh, yeah.
There was one down. We had one. Yes, we had one, and I'm sorry. I meant to tell them to kind of hold that because you know what? They can be an identified flying object.
Yes,
You know?
it could.
I think they're kind of going to.
Some people jokingly call it, because it happens so often in the state of Alabama, they tossed over trampolines. It's the official state bird during severe weather season.
That.
Yeah,
that's a.
I see that.
Oh, here it is right here. Here's some of that video. I think I'm not sure exactly. What we'll have here.
You got to
there it
secure
is right
those
there.
things. You got to tie them down.
Man, you know,
Wing gets underneath them and flips them over.
Yeah. I mean, they mentioned that many times, but you know, the things that sometimes this is in Charleston, Tennessee. Is that right? Yeah. So obviously, they will have other recreation to do this weekend, apparently, because that one doesn't look like it's going to be back in service here for a little while. But you can put them back together, but I'll tell you, it's not always a good idea, because they can be a little bit altered after something like that. So that was the trampoline. We're back on the kaleidoscope here. Boy, that's a lot of colors there.
Yeah, it's a lot of wind, and I'm just kind of looking at this, like far southern parts of Gilmer County. See how it bows a little bit right there. Got to keep an eye on that. I think it's going to be exiting out of the county shortly. This heads up in Gilmer County, the far southeast corner of Gilmer County. LJ, you're kind of out of that, but let's keep an eye on that. Far southern Fannin. That warning's out till 4:30. But that line of storms is moving rapidly off to the east. I believe they've got that till 4:30. Wind gust is 60, moving east. So, yeah. So keep an eye on that for far southern Gilmer and southern Fannin. But that'll be exiting pretty quickly as well east of LJ. And now that tornado warning has expired for Cherokee County.
Did that was that expired early?
They just expired it.
Yeah.
They let it go to the top. I think they just going to say let it go.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, because I think that they also, I can't speak for them, but if it was something that I was doing, I wouldn't be taking any chances on expiring anything early, really, unless it was very obvious.
Exactly. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show this real quickly, and then we'll go back to regular programming since most of our viewing area is out of this. But I do want to show this part of, heads up, this far corner, southeastern Gilmer, far southern Fannin. So it's away from Blue Ridge and LJ into the mountains. Beware that severe thunderstorm warning is out till 4:30. We'll keep an eye on that line. All right, but that's out till 4:30. Strong wind gusts here, 60 to 70. Crossing into the mountains, but moving east now of LJ and east of Blue Ridge. But again, the far southern tier of the county is still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 4:30 Eastern time. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, we're going to resume and go back to regular programming. But we have a full team coverage update coming up starting at 5 o'clock. We have teams on the field. And we're going to talk about showing you some of the damage out there. We'll have updates on power outages, how long that'll last. But we'll be streaming also on our website as well. So if you've lost power, you can still get that on the website on your mobile device. Thanks so much for watching us this afternoon. We'll continue to watch these storms here. Full update coming up at 5 o'clock.